Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys kind of like my everyday eyeshadow look. I'm going to be doing like a soft brown, kind of deep brown, half cut crease if that makes sense. I'm going to be using my Morphe palette to do it. So I already did my eyebrows and prepped my eyes off camera. All I used was for my eyebrows the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade in the color Chocolate, and I used the Master Conceal to prep and clean up my eyebrows and prep my eyes. So when I first start my eyeshadow, the first thing that I go in with before I do anything else is put a primer so it's sitting on my face as I'm doing my eyeshadow, then I'll do my foundation. So I use the Revlon Photo Ready Primer. Honestly, this is kind of like a dupe for the Benefit Cosmetics Professional Primer. Using this, it's not really like a silicone texture, but it kind of reminds me of silicone in a way. It fills in all my pores and it does help my makeup stay and last a lot longer versus if I didn't use it. So it's like an important part of my makeup to make sure it stays. So it helps it stay all day, and it also smooths my pores. This primer also mattifies everything, so if you do have an oily face, I suggest this primer. And even if you don't have an oily face, I still suggest this primer. I really like this. This is honestly the only drugstore primer I really like. So to start the eyes, I'm gonna first go use my flower blending brush, and it just looks like this, really fluffy. It's kind of stiff in a way, but it's really soft. Going into my Morphe palette, I'm going to be taking 3 colors, our transition colors and our crease colors. So the 3 ones that I'm going in with first are this one, and this one. So just kind of dip into all 3 and mix them. And then I'm just going to apply this in my crease. Okay, so now that we have that all blended in our crease, what I'm going to do to kind of darken the crease up, I like to mix the, I like to add, since like these 3 colors that I last used, they kind of have like an orange tone to them, to kind of deepen the orange color in them, I go in with this orange color right here. And I only use a little bit of that because I do not really want an orange crease. But I do like the way orange mixes with brown, so that's why I add an extra orange color in there. Okay. So now that we have all that blended out and our crease kind of looks like the color you want it to look, you can also go darker with these colors or you can go lighter, but that's just the way I prefer it. And now what I'm going to do to darken up the crease, I'm going to add a lot of browns. So I'm going to be mixing a lot of browns. So first, what I first mix is this one, and I just tap off the excess. that all blended in my crease. What I'm going to go do is get a more dense blending brush like this one. This is the Eco Tools dual-sided brush. And I'm going to apply some darker browns to kind of deepen the look up. So what I'm going to go take is I get this one and a little bit of this one. So what I forgot to mention was this is my Morphe 3, I'm not sure if you could see that, my Morphe 350 palette. And honestly, you guys, this is like my everyday palette that I use just because of the color selection. This palette's more for like natural, you could still go like dramatic looks with this, but these are more of the natural colors, the browns, oranges, all of those. So after we have that all blended out, I'm just going to go in with the Naked 2 brush. This is the brush that came in my Naked 2 palette, and I'm going to go in with like this blending side. It's like fluffy, but it's kind of flat, so it can be more precise. What I'm going to go ahead and do is take these two darker browns right here. So this one kind of looks like a little bluish gray on camera, but it's really not. And then I'm going to take this one. I'm going to tap off the excess. I just pack this on the outer corner and then a little bit into the crease just to deepen it up and kind of get it ready for the black that we're about to apply. So it looks a little crazy right now, but this is kind of what you're left with. I'm not gonna lie, the Morphe 350, I haven't tried other Morphe palettes, just this one, and they're kind of patchy. The darker colors are pretty, like, not like really patchy, but you can definitely see patchiness within it. And it doesn't really bother me because when I have everything all blended out, you can't really tell. So now that I just applied all of that, what I like to do is, in case we lost any of like the crease shades while blending these darker shades into it, what I like to do is go back in with the Eco Tools dual-sided brush and get that blending side again. And in my Morphe 350, I dip back into these and I just kind of go like above where we blended everything out and retouch up our crease colors. So what I kind of did off camera, because I didn't realize that my camera wasn't recording, all I did was take an Urban Decay, ooh, not that one, girl. I don't even know where it went. Oh. So all I did was take an Urban Decay Naked 3 brush, like kind of like a pointed one, but it's like fluffy. All I did was get some black out of the Naked 2 palette, and I just dotted that in there, and then I'm gonna go back in with this Eco Tools blending brush and just blend that out. You can hear my daughter in the background. She's being a little brat. So after I have that all blended out, it's kind of time to, some days I do black darker than others. It kind of just depends on the way I want my eyeshadow to look that day. You can definitely add more black, or you can definitely just stay with the brown colors that you had previously and not even darken that up, and it still looks just as cute. So now what it is time for is to clean up, to make your half cut crease and to kind of clean up around the edges where it looks a little crazy. But before we do that, I'm just going to take any brush. You could practically use any brush for this. I'm going to, let me see. I'm going to use the Naked 2 one, but the flat side this time. And I'm just gonna dip into Booty Call in the Naked 2 palette. And all I'm gonna do is apply that under my brow bone so it kind of looks more blended here to the top. I'm not gonna lie, I really don't like the Naked 2 palette. I feel like the colors aren't very pigmented in my opinion. I'm just gonna go back into the Morphe palette, and I'm gonna dip into the white at the top corner up here for the fact that that one that I just tried using off the Naked 2 palette wasn't pigmented at all. And that's exactly why I never use the palette, because it's not pigmented. It's not very pigmented, and any of the other matte colors like this one, I guess that's the only matte color, and these other two, they don't blend out at all. Like, they are so hard to blend, and maybe other people use it easier than me, but just my opinion, I do not like the Naked 2 palette. So now what we're going to do is you're going to get any concealer brush that you use. I don't use this one to clean up my eyebrows, but I just use this one for my eyeshadow only, so it's a little messy. But this is just like it's just an e.l.f. small smudge brush. It just looks like this. It's very small and round, flat looking. It's good to get things precise, but the reason I don't use that to clean up my eyebrows is because it's too small. It doesn't really put product where I need it. But for cleaning up eyeshadow, I love it. So what I use to clean up, you could use any concealer, because different days I switch up my concealers anyway, so it doesn't even matter which one you use. But what I'm going to use to do this one is Fit Me foundation by Maybelline in 15 Fair, like the lightest color they come with, because you know I'm light as fuck. Look at my skin. Anyway, I just use this, and I kind of like dip at the top just because I don't want a lot. This part is easier than it seems. I'm gonna get kind of closer so you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'll get right here. Perfect. Okay, so I'm not gonna do an entire cut crease. I'm just gonna do it halfways, and I'll show you guys what I'm gonna do. So here, as you can see, all the eyeshadows blended out or whatever. Now as I close my eye, I'm going to just start from right here and make my way right here. And when I get to that outer corner, you'll see how I kind of blend it. I push it into the dark color to blend. So with your eye open, because you don't really want your eye closed, because you want to do it above your natural crease to show a crease. Because if you do it right in the crease, you're not going to be able to tell. So I'm going to get kind of close here. Okay, so with my open, oh, and don't mind all my little eyebrow hairs that I have to pluck, okay? I don't need your judgment. So right here, I'm going to just look up, and I'm going to kind of go above my natural crease. Okay, and now it kind of looks like that. Because you could tell it's like right above my natural crease right there. And now all I'm going to do, smooth it out, and you'll see how I kind of blend everything out. And then it's going to kind of look like that. So if your cut crease part doesn't look exactly like mine, I mean, don't stress about it. We all have different eye shapes, so it's not really going to look exactly like mine. But what I'm going to do now is just blend all this other concealer out and just kind of push it into the eyeshadow a little bit. Like that. And now, so we can blend that out so we don't look like freaking weirdos, I'm going to go take, I'm going to take this e.l.f. It's like an e.l.f. It says e.l.f. blending brush. It's this. It looks like this. It's more circular. I'm gonna take any color that we've been using. You can take this and use it. I'm just gonna dip back like into this medium brown color and then blend it right there where the concealer and the eyeshadow meet. Okay, and now that it kind of looks even more weird, what I do, I take that white color and just set that concealer and to kind of like brighten it up. Okay, after you have that cleaned up, now we're going to clean up these outer corners just to kind of make it look more clean of a look. Again, I'm going to do the same thing I dip back into that concealer, and then I'm just going to clean it up right here on the edges where I want it to look. So I'm going to so it'll look like that now. And it's ready for liquid eyeliner. So I'm going to do the other thing, the same thing to the other side. If you clean it up before, it honestly makes liquid eyeliner a lot easier. So now I'm going to go in with the Maybelline waterproof liquid eyeliner. It looks like that. I'm going to go in with obviously the color black, and I'm just going to do is water. Do my waterline with white. Make that white stand out a little more. What I do is I use an e.l.f. flat, like it says, oh girl, this don't even have the fucking writing on it anymore because I wore it out, but it's like an e.l.f. flat packing brush. I just go into the Morphe palette again with that white we've been using at the top corner, and I just use that and I put that over top of that eyeliner to make it stand out a little more. So now that we have done all the eyes, what we're going to do is do the foundation now. So off camera, all I did was apply foundation, and the foundation I used was the Infallible Pro Glow 24 Hour by L'Oreal. I'm in the color 202 Creamy Natural. And all I did was apply it all over the face with my Real Technique sponge. So this foundation isn't a full coverage, but it does have great coverage, as you could see. Now what I'm going to highlight with is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer again. And I'm just going to put that all the places you would highlight. Highlighted all those areas. I'm going to use the Airspun to bake. Airspun? What? The Airspun to bake. All I'm going to do, I just turn that shit over, empty it into my lid, girl. And then, with that little fluffy shit thingy it comes with, I'm just going to take that, and I'm going to apply that where I put that concealer. I mean, yeah, exactly where I put that concealer. And also around the nose, because my makeup always breaks apart in those areas. Okay, and now I'm gonna let that bake. Well, I use, so the reason I left that powder to sit where I put the concealer was to let that sit for a while, to make sure that concealer really doesn't move throughout the day, nor does it get creased throughout the day. We'll wipe it off later when I'm done contouring. So, okay, so what I'm gonna use to contour is the Wet n Wild contouring palette, and I'm just gonna take that brown side and just apply it where you contour. Oh, and the brush I'm using to do that is the Real Techniques brush. It kind of looks like that. I'm not sure what it's called. I kind of just dot it and then I blend it out. So now after I do that contouring, what I'm going to do is go back in with that air sponge and clean up the contour, make it look just a little bit cleaner, and it'll kind of set the rest of the face. So what I'm going to do, I use this, apply that there. And then I bake on my smile lines, so I'm just going to apply fake eyelashes, and then we'll dust off the bake. So before applying eyelashes, I'm going to apply just a little bit of mascara just to get rid of like the powder off of my eyelashes. What I use is the Voluminous Butterfly Midnight Black. I use very little on my top eyelashes.
But I love this mascara for the bottom lashes.
Okay, now what I'm going to use to apply my eyelashes are obviously a pair of tweezers and then the Duo brush-on adhesive with vitamins. I mean, I don't even know if it really has vitamins. That beats me. I don't have them in their case, but these are the lashes that I'm using. They look like this. These are the LA Girl eyelashes, and they're in Diva, I think, 976. So all I'm going to do is apply some glue to them. Let it dry just a little bit so it can get more tackier, and then apply. What I recommend if you are just starting out learning to apply fake eyelashes, the best thing to do is get something with a very thin band. And as you could tell, these ones are actually really thin. The band is very thin. The band meaning where it holds the hair together. Get something with a thin band, because if you get something with a thick band like the Allure eyelashes, the Vegas Nay ones, they have very thick bands. Those are a lot harder to apply. So what you want to do is kind of just practice with the thinner bands until you get pretty good at it. Then you use the thicker bands. It's actually quite difficult for me to use the thicker bands compared to using the thinner bands. Now, to dust off the big, all I use is like this flower little kabuki brush. Dust that shit all off your face, girl. What I use, so I think it's, ooh girl. This is I have a Becca highlighter, and I know what you're gonna say, like these aren't the bottles Becca highlighters come in. I know, but it's because the bottle that I had originally got from, with it in, busted like when it was brand new on the way home. So all I did was switch it out to a foundation, an empty foundation bottle, and then I emptied it in there. And this is in the color like Moonshine, I want to say. And it's a liquid highlighter, and all I do is add that here, there, there. And then I use my Real Technique sponge to blend it out. And you're done. No, I'm kidding, you're not done. Like, this highlighter is popping. Get that freaking, ooh, girl. And then what I do to kind of like set that liquid highlight is I use this like Love and Beauty illuminator. I just use an e.l.f. blush brush, and I just set that so it doesn't kind of transfer. And there you go. So guys, this is the finished look. Highlight poppin', eye look, eyelashes, and yeah. And the last part I do is use the Hard Candy makeup setting spray and set the face. Look. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment.